If you are anywhere close to age 62 right now, there is a number I need you to sit with before you do anything else. That number is $246,000. That is a conservative estimate of what the average retiree loses in lifetime Social Security income by claiming at 62 instead of waiting. Not in some extreme scenario, not assuming perfect health or unusual longevity. In a completely ordinary retirement, with a completely average life expectancy, for a couple where one spouse earns more than the other. $246,000 left on the table permanently because of a single decision made at age 62, often in an afternoon, often without running a single number. I want to be careful about something before we go further because I have seen what happens when people hear a statistic like that and immediately assume it does not apply to them. If you are approaching 62 with no other income and genuinely cannot pay your bills without Social Security, stay with me anyway, because I am going to tell you exactly when claiming early is the right decision and when it is not. If you are comfortable, have some savings, and are thinking about claiming early because everyone around you seems to be doing it, stay with me especially because comfortable retirees are statistically more likely to make this mistake than struggling ones, and the reason will surprise you. My name is Alan Cole. I spent 12 years in retirement financial planning, and the conversation I have more than almost any other is a version of the same conversation, with a different person every time. Someone in their early 60s sitting across from me who has already filed for Social Security, who did it 6 months or a year ago, who thought they understood the math, and who is now doing the math again with me and realizing what that decision actually cost them for the rest of their life. The 12-month withdrawal window exists. If you filed within the last year, you can repay every dollar you received and restart. That option closes after 12 months. After that, the decision is permanent. So if there is any chance you are still in that window, or any chance you are approaching 62 and have not filed yet, this conversation could be worth more to you than almost anything else you watch this year. Let us start with the actual mechanics, because the single biggest reason people make the wrong decision about Social Security timing is that they do not fully understand how the numbers work. Your Social Security benefit is calculated based on your highest 35 years of earnings, adjusted for wage inflation. That calculation produces what the government calls your primary insurance amount, your PIA. That is the exact monthly benefit you receive if you claim at your full retirement age, which for anyone born in 1960 or later is 67. Now here is where the permanent math begins. If your full retirement age benefit is $2,200 per month, at 62 you would receive approximately $1,540, which is 70%. At 67, the full $2,200. At 70, approximately $2,728, which is 124%. These are permanent adjustments. Claiming early locks in the reduced amount for life. Delaying locks in the increased amount for life. And future cost of living adjustments apply to whichever base you locked in. AARP. That last sentence matters more than most people realize. Every annual COLA adjustment, every inflation increase the government applies to Social Security benefits is calculated as a percentage of your current benefit. If you locked in $1,540 instead of $2,200, your COLA increases are calculated on the smaller number every single year for the rest of your life. The gap between what you could have received and what you are receiving does not stay at $660 a month. It grows slightly every single year as inflation compounds on the larger base you gave up. By waiting until age 70, individuals get the maximum benefit, a 77% larger monthly check compared to claiming at age 62. Not 30% larger, 77% larger. The difference between claiming at 62 and waiting until 70 is not just the 30% reduction for early claiming. It is the combination of that reduction and the 24% increase you would have earned by delaying past full retirement age. Taken together, the gap is 77%. Kiplinger. Let me show you what that looks like on a real number. A retiree with a full retirement age benefit of $2,000 a month claims at 62. Their monthly benefit is $1,400. If they had waited until 70, their monthly benefit would have been $2,480. The difference is $1,080 every month for the rest of their life, and for their surviving spouse after them. Now, let me tell you about the break-even point because this is the number that drives more bad decisions than anything else in Social Security planning. The break-even point is the age at which the total cumulative dollars you collect by waiting equals the total cumulative dollars you would have collected by claiming early. Before break-even, the early claimer is ahead in total dollars received. After break-even, the delayed claimer is ahead, and the gap widens every year. Claiming at 62 instead of 67 yields lower monthly payments, but starts 5 years sooner, and the break-even point compared to waiting until 67 arrives at almost age 79. When comparing 62 to 70, the cumulative advantage of claiming early disappears between age 80 and 81. So the question becomes, how old do you expect to live? The average life expectancy in the United States for a 62-year-old man right now is approximately 83. For a 62-year-old woman, it is approximately 86. Both of those numbers are past the break-even point, which means the average healthy 62-year-old who claims early is statistically likely to live long enough to wish they had waited. But here is where the break-even analysis falls short, and this is the part that most people, including most financial advisors, get wrong. The break-even analysis treats Social Security as if it is just about you, just about your total lifetime income. It is not. For married couples, the most important number in the entire Social Security timing decision is not the break-even age for the individual. It is the survivor benefit. When one spouse dies, the surviving spouse receives the higher of the two benefit amounts, not both, the higher one, which means the amount the higher earning spouse locked in at their claiming age is the amount the surviving spouse will live on, potentially for decades after the higher earner is gone. I want to tell you about a client of mine. His name is David. He is 64 years old and retired from a career in manufacturing outside of Detroit, Michigan. His wife, Linda, is 62. David's full retirement age benefit is $2,400 a month. Linda's is $1,100. They were planning to both claim at 62, David this year and Linda in a few months. When we sat down and modeled the numbers, this is what we found. If both claim at 62, David receives $1,680 a month, and Linda receives $770. If David dies at 78, Linda switches to David's benefit of $1,680 for the rest of her life. Based on her life expectancy, she could be on that survivor benefit for 15 or more years. If instead David waits until 70, his benefit is $2,976 a month. If David dies at 78, Linda receives $2,976 a month for the rest of her life. The difference in Linda's monthly survivor benefit is $1,296. Over 15 years of widowhood, that is $233,280. David's decision about when to claim Social Security is not just a decision about his retirement income. It is a decision about Linda's financial security for the last decade or two of her life after he is gone. That is the number most break-even analyses never calculate. David is now planning to delay to 70. Linda will claim at 63 to provide household income during the gap years. The math for their household is dramatically better, and Linda's protection is dramatically better. Now let me address the 5 reasons I hear most often for why people claim at 62. And I want to be honest about which ones are valid and which ones are not. Reason number 1. I want to get my money while I can still enjoy it. This is the most human reason on the list, and I have genuine respect for it. You have paid into this system for 40 years. You want what you earned. And there is a real fear underneath this reason. A fear that something might happen, that you might not live long enough to collect what you deserve. Here is the honest response. If you are in good health with no serious diagnosis suggesting shortened life expectancy, the probability that you will live past the break-even age is high. The fear of not living long enough to collect is real and understandable, but for most healthy 62-year-olds, It is not supported by the actuarial data. The average healthy 62-year-old has a 50% probability of living past 85. If you have a serious health condition, a documented diagnosis that meaningfully shortens your expected lifespan, this changes the calculation significantly, and claiming early may be the right decision for you. That is a legitimate reason. Feeling uncertain about the future is not the same thing. Reason number 2, I need the income right now. This is sometimes a completely valid reason and sometimes a trap. The way to tell the difference is to ask one question. Can I cover my living expenses from other sources for 3 to 5 more years without permanently depleting my assets? If the answer is no, claiming early may be necessary, and I would not tell you otherwise. But if you have an IRA, a 401k, a pension, a working spouse, or savings that could bridge the gap, pulling from those accounts for a few years while Social Security grows is almost always the better mathematical decision. The money you take from a retirement account runs out eventually. The larger Social Security benefit you earn by waiting lasts for the rest of your life and for your surviving spouse. Reason number 3, I am still working and I will just collect both. This one is a mistake I see regularly. If you claim Social Security before your full retirement age and you are still working, the Social Security Administration will reduce your benefit by $1 for every $2 you earn above the annual earnings limit. For 2026, if you earn above approximately $23,400, your benefits are reduced by $1 for every $2. AARP. So if you are 63, earning $50,000 a year, and you have claimed Social Security, you are collecting a permanently reduced benefit, and then having a portion of that already reduced benefit clawed back on top of that. There is a partial credit applied when you reach full retirement age for the months your benefit was withheld, but the permanent reduction you locked in at 62 does not go away. Reason number 4, my financial advisor told me to claim early. Social Security timing is a specialized area, and not every financial advisor has deep expertise in it. The most important question you can ask any professional giving you Social Security advice is this: did you model my specific benefit amount, my spousal situation, and my survivor benefit scenario? If the answer is anything other than yes, push back. There is also a structural consideration worth knowing. A financial advisor who manages your investment portfolio has a financial interest in you drawing down Social Security early and leaving your investment accounts intact, because their fee is based on the assets they manage. That does not mean their advice is wrong. It means the incentive structure is worth understanding. Reason number 5, Social Security will not be there if I wait. This is the concern I hear most often from people in their early 60s, and I want to address it with the actual numbers rather than reassurance. The Social Security Trust Fund is currently projected to reach depletion around 2033. That projection generates alarming headlines. Here is what those headlines consistently leave out. Depletion of the trust fund does not mean Social Security disappears. It means that if Congress takes no action between now and 2033, Social Security would pay approximately 79 to 83% of scheduled benefits from ongoing payroll tax revenue, not zero, roughly 80%. The Social Security program has faced projected shortfalls before. The 1983 amendments were passed specifically to address a similar situation. Congress has strong political and electoral incentive to act. Is there some risk? Yes. Is that risk large enough to justify permanently locking in a 30% benefit reduction right now in exchange for avoiding a possible 20% reduction in 2033 that may not happen? For most people, the math does not support that trade. Now, let me bring this together with the one framework that I give every client who is approaching this decision. The Social Security timing decision is not a solo calculation. It is a household calculation. And it has 3 components that all need to be modeled together. Component 1 is your own break-even analysis based on your specific benefit amount and your realistic health expectations. Component 2 is the survivor benefit calculation. What does your spouse receive if you die at 75 at 80, at 85. How does that change depending on when you claim? Component 3 is the income bridge calculation. What other sources of income can you use to cover living expenses while the higher earner delays? What is the cost of drawing down those sources for 3 to 7 years versus the benefit of the larger lifetime income stream? When you model all three together with real numbers, the answer for most married couples with the higher earner in reasonable health is almost always the same. The lower earner claims at or slightly before full retirement age to provide household income. The higher earner delays as long as possible, ideally to 70, to maximize both their own lifetime income and the survivor benefit. Claiming at any age before 70 is a penalty in the sense that you are accepting permanently reduced benefits relative to what you could have received. For some people, in some circumstances, that penalty is worth paying. For most healthy married retirees with any alternative income source, it is not. Kiplinger. Log into SSA.gov right now and look up your exact benefit estimates at 62, at your full retirement age, and at 70. Run the three numbers. Then think about what your spouse would receive on your benefit if you were gone. That is the conversation this video is asking you to have, ideally before you file, ideally before the 12-month window closes if you have already filed. Send this video to one person in your life who is approaching 62 or who has recently filed and may still be in the withdrawal window. That conversation could be worth more to them than almost any other gift you give them this year. I will see you in the next one.